Okay, here we are. Everything should be running now, so okay, here we are. And I'm going to put my headphones on here so you're not hearing my voice echoing in the background after I just said something. So, starting off with here, this is for the month of May, and if I'm not looking here, it's because my screen over here is the one that actually has everything going on. So if I'm not looking at you, it's because I'm looking over here, so just so you're aware. Alright, so starting off with, what I'm going to start off with here is just like I did the last time, the bosses for the coming month. That looks like that might be a reskin, I'm not sure. Hard to say. I'll move my microphone over here a little ways so you can hear me a little better and get all my other stuff out of the way so I can actually do something here on my desk without getting stuff knocked over. There we go. Okay. So, what we're going to have here is the bosses, as I said. I'm going to turn my volume down on my headphones there. Okay. So this, I can't tell if that's a reskin or not. I think it might be. It's hard to say, but that's one of the bosses there for the raids. It's definitely fire. Looks like it could also be earth. Not sure. Then we have, oh, that's definitely a reskin. That's one we had for the Sapphire Brunei, I think it was. Can't remember what they called it, but that's going to be the second boss. So that one looks like it's going to be fire and spirit, presumably. There's some effects. There's the head of one of the two, and there's the head of the other two, or the other of the two. Okay, so image number 4 is going to be boss number 1, and image number 3 is going to be boss number 2. So I'll come back to that in a bit when I start putting the actual sheet together. Now on to the armors. Like I did the last time, I'm going to put this off, and look, there's the Sapphire Brunei, just like I was thinking. So putting my images here on the left, and then my picture on the right of the actual armor. So this is fire and water. I was wrong, it's fire and water, not fire and spirit. Okay, that's different, but okay. So we have the water swirl here at the bottom of the feet, and we have the fire effects coming off the shoulders and around everywhere else. So that's definitely a fire and water. Okay, so first one, armor 1, fire water, and that is the male, and that's the evolution 2 or the ascended version. Next up we have the female, so that makes things easy. Alright, so that's good. That's a new one. That is fire and spirit. Fire, as you can see the swirl here, but there's also a spirit swirl and some spirit kind of swirly effects. These are the guys that come off the shoulders. That's kind of a cool looking armor, actually. It looks kind of like an axe with a big spike in the middle of it. It's kind of cool. So, alright, so that's armor number 2. That is fire and spirit. And that is also male Evo 2. Okay. That's also a new one. That is fire and fire. That's a dual fire right there. That's kind of a cool looking hatchet looking axe thing. So number 3, armor 3, fire, fire. That is also male. There we go. Back to here. Alright, that's the male of the Sapphire Brunei reskin, but that's evolution 1. And there's the female, which is again the same thing, evolution 1. That's another new one. Huh, okay then. So this one is fire and earth. The fire effects over here, and then there's the little clear indicator guy right there that says this is an earth armor. There's the earth bits coming off the shoulders and the earth swirl at the feet. So, armor 4, fire, earth, male, I believe. Yeah. Evo 2. Okay. And another new one, that's fire and water. Kind of a cool looking sword. Kind of cool looking in general, really. Okay, so number 7 is armor 5, fire, water. Also male, I think. That could be female, actually. The waist is kind of thin. You can see right here it's kind of thin, narrower waist. That one I'm going to leave as male for now, but I think it might be female. Oh, another reskin. That one, I cannot for the life of me remember the name of that one, but that was a fusion only. It was one of the first ones. It was the second, I think, of the fusion only armors. Can't think of the name of it to save my life. But it's one of the fusion onlys. So actually, let me really check really quick here. I'll move that over. That's my stream channel. Let's get that out of the way. I think, if I recall correctly, that was the second, like I said, of the fusion only Shadow Forged armors, and it was called the Arcana Stone. So it was this guy right here, Arcana Stone. So that's what that one is. So it's a reskin of that one, but this time around it's going to be Fire and Spirit instead of just Spirit and Spirit. So there's 2 reskins so far. There may be more, obviously, but that's one of them, and I'm hoping they don't do this as the elite, because that would be kind of dumb, or the exclusive, whatever. This is the female evolution 2. Okay. There's the male. Oh, hang on. I gotta go back and look at that one now. That was Fire and Spirit, so this is this one. Nope. That one is the female. Kind of hard to tell, really. Yeah, it could be the female. Some of them aren't always as obvious, but it's definitely Fire and Spirit, so that one should be good. Okay, so I think that's probably the female, so that's going to be, I believe it's this one, yes. Okay, so that's going to be the female version of that. I believe it is female, I'll double check in a minute. There's the Fire and Fire, but that's the male. Evolution 1. There's the, actually that is the, that first one actually I think was the female. Yep, it was the female. I was right in the first place. Okay, so this one's actually female, and that one is the male. It's hard to tell. The chest plate's almost identical. The breastplate, I mean, is almost identical on this one. It's hard to tell for sure, but there's definitely a flatter section of that one. Okay, starting back up here. Alright, so there is the, I believe that is male. That's the male evolution 1, I believe. Oops. Okay, that's bizarre. Why is there an air and water in here? This is Fire Month. Okay, that's really weird. That's an air and water. That's clearly air at the swirl at the feet, and clearly water droplets. That's clearly air and water. What the hell is it doing here? Okay, I'm as lost as you are. I really have no idea. So, I don't know. All right, so I'm actually gonna number this one 10, because I think there's probably gonna be 10 this time around, but I'm not sure. This is water and air. I don't know why water and air is in the Fire Month files, but it is. I don't know. So that one is, I believe, the female. I'll double check here in a minute when I find the male for it. There's the female of the dual fire. There is the next step down, which I believe is the female also. Yeah, it looks like it. So that's the Fire and Spirit, which was, I think, this one. Yes. Okay, so this is the female, I believe, of that one, but it's Evolution 1, or the one just above base. And by the way, is anybody having any issues with hearing me? I just want to make sure that people can hear me properly, and that no one has any problems with hearing what's going on. Sorry, give me just a quick second here. I'm just pulling up my dashboard so I can see my chat. If anybody's actually talking to me at this point in time, I'm not sure if anybody is, but if anybody is having any issues with hearing me, just let me know and I can move the mic a bit closer or rearrange a bit. Okay, get that out of the way again. Alright, so this one, that's another new one. That's fire and earth also. We've got the earth blocky dudes coming off the shoulders. There's the little earth square or little diamond looking thing. So this is another new one. This has like kind of like a club, like a long rectangular like mace look to it. Alright. Alright, so that's going to be armor. Oops. Armor, let's do that one, armor 7. Fire earth. Male? Yeah, it looks male. Okay. Okay, so that is the next one that looks just like the one, that weird water air. Let me look at these back to back here. This one is the male. It's the chest area is just simply larger. So that one is actually, it actually is the male. So this one we're going to rename. And then 17 is going to be the female. Just slightly narrower chest. Not a huge difference, but it is slightly smaller. There's the male of that reskin, which I believe was this one. Yes. And there's the male of the, reskin of the Arcana Stone. Okay, and there is that one. That's not quite as accentuated, I guess is the best way to describe it, as this one. Yeah, the sword's just a little bit different. There's kind of, instead of it being white, it's like kind of a yellowish color here, and the shield isn't quite as fleshed out. Well, I guess the shield's basically the same, but it's not exactly the same on the other looks. I still don't know why there's a water and air in the Fire Month files, but whatever. Maybe this is going to be some special event or something. Okay, so this is going to be the male. So this is Evolution 1. That is the... Did I rename that one wrong? I think I may have. I did. This one's actually... Yeah, that's the female. Oops. Oops, copy. There we go. I'm on a roll today. Can't seem to copy and paste to save my damn life. Okay, and there is the, I believe, female of the Fire and Spirit, which should be, I believe, this one. Nope, 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 not even close. This one. Ha ha ha. Okay, so that one is the male. Sorry, not the female. It's hard to tell some of these. Their chest plates are not clearly obvious. Like if you zoom in, you can't clearly tell if that's male or female. There's not quite enough of a bump, if you will, to say this is definitely female or this is definitely male. It's not always obvious. Okay. That is the male or the female of that one we just looked at a minute ago, which was Fire and Earth, which I believe was this one. Nope. Not even close. That one. Okay. There we go. So this is the female of that one. There's the female of the Dual Fire. Evolution 1. There is... oh, apparently I've named them wrong here. Go away, phone. Busy. Okay. Yeah, looks like I've labeled them wrong here. So this one actually... Yep, I did label it wrong. That's actually Evolution 1. Let's copy that really quick. Rename it as 1. And this one's actually Evolution 2. There we go. Easy enough to fix. That's another new one. That is Fire and Air, which is good because there hasn't been one yet. Fire and Air, male. Okay. I'm going to name this one number 8. Fire Air. Cool. Oops. Apparently I hit the wrong button there. There is the female of the Fire and Earth that was lower down. Is it this one? Yes, it was. Whoops. No. Copy. There we go. Paste. Copy, paste. Damn you. Fingers, cooperate. There's another new one. That's another Fire and Air. That's kind of cool. It has like a... almost looks like a lance, but it isn't. Oh, it's kind of cool. Actually, I kind of like that one. So that's number 9. Fire air. Another fire air, back to back. Fire air, and that one is the male. There's the fire and spirit male evolution. So that one was this one? No. Fire spirit. That one right there. There we go. Okay. And just like with last time, it's not really that exciting. It's just, that's the way it is. It's just stuff you have to go through to find out what files are what, what's what. So, you know, just keeping things straight in my head as well as making it easier to read through later. If I ever have to come back to these and like reassemble armors, or maybe I screwed something up, I always can come back to it easily and reference which one's which. So, all right. So that one is fire and spirit. That one, or fire and earth, excuse me. And I believe that one was this one. Yes, cool. All right. So that one is the male. Evolution 1. That is the male of the fire and earth. That's the other fire and earth, which was, I think, this one. Yes, cool. So that is evolution 1 of the male. It's also kind of a cool looking one, if you ask me. There's the female, I believe. Yeah, I think so. That is the female. At least it looks like one. Of the fire and air, which was the armor 8, I believe. Let's double check. Yep. Okay, that's the female of that one. That is the... That definitely looks like more of a male sort of breastplate. That was the fire and water, which was, I think, this one? Yes. Okay. So that is the base, I believe, of the male. I think that's it. I think there's 10 armors. I think. Yep. I think we are at I think we have reached... Oh, it's not that one. It's this one. Yes. Okay. I think we have reached the end of the armors. I think this is all just different variations of the same armor. Yep. Pretty sure we have. Okay, so this is the male of the Sapphire Brunei reskin base. And that's the female. Surprise, surprise. Okay, there's the female of the fire and earth. If I can ever keep these damn things straight. Okay, yeah, that is the right one. Okay. Fire and earth. That's evolution 1. That is the male. Oh, hang on a second. Are they out of order? Hang on a second. Oh, that's actually not. That's evolution 1. The weapon looks a little different. And the shield looks a little different as well. So this is actually evolution 1, not evolution 2. Okay, good thing I caught that. But I had to come back to it to fix it eventually anyway. But, glad I caught it when I did. Okay, there's the female of this duder. Yep. There's the... I believe that's the female. Looks like it. The base of that one anyway. That's the female base of that one. Yep, okay. Female base of that one. Okay, that is the male base of the dual fire. That is the second fire and air, if I recall. Or was it the first one? No, it's not. Sorry, the second one. Yeah, there we go. That is the second one. Okay, so that's the male. Oops. Copy. There's the male. Yeah, I was right. That is the male. So this is the male base of this guy. Why, they're water, air. I don't know. And there's the dual fire base for the female. There is the... I may have the male and female on this one wrong too. It's hard to tell. That breastplate's just not clear which one it is. That one I think might be the female. It's hard to tell though. That one's a weird one. The breastplate just isn't clear one way or the other. Whoops. I did not mean to close that. So that's the fire and air, which I believe was this one. Yeah, there's like not much bump to that one, so I think it is actually the female. Okay, so this one's going to be that one. That's the fire and spirit. That was one of the first ones, I believe. This was number 2. Yes. So number 2, that one is the female. That's the male, excuse me. That is the male base. That is the female of the second fire and air. That is the male base of the same one. There's the male base of the fire and earth, which I think was this one. Yes. Okay, cool. Makes it easy. Right there nearby. There's the male, I believe. Yes. Male base of the fire and spirit, which was this one. Yes, it is. Okay. Male base is 50. And I believe the next one up is the female. Yep. Makes it easy. Whoops. I didn't put my little dash in there. Okay. And there's the female, fire, earth. This one? Yes. Always double check just to make sure I haven't missed something. Almost done. Yeah, there's no more new armors. This is it. There's 10 here this month, and I still don't know why that water and air is in here. That does not make any sense to me. Okay, so this one is fire and earth. That was the first fire and earth, if I recall. Was this one? Yes. Perfect. Okay, so that's the male base of that one. Maybe I'll just go find the female base of it really quick. Yeah, there it is, 57. Save myself the trouble having to find it later. Okay. Close you. Back to here. There is the female of this guy here. Yes. Female evolution 1. Ta-da. That's the male, I believe. That one's another one of those ones that's hard to tell for sure. That's the fire and spirit, which was this one. Let me just double check here. It's not obvious. They're both base. Just can't tell for sure which one's which. The arms on this one do seem a little bit bigger, so that one actually might be the bait. That might be the male. Okay, I might have those backwards. That's fine. I can just copy that one, rename it as female. Not that big of a deal. I'm not using it right now anyway, but just for the sake of consistency. Okay. Close you. Start fresh. Okay, back to here again. Number 56. This is the base. That is the male of the fire and air, which was this one here. Yes. Okay. Didn't mean to close that one. So this is the base of that one. Okay. Just making sure. Come on. Stop it, you. There we go. Computer's acting possessed today. Windows updates just rebooted. Go figure. Female, I believe that's the base of the second fire and air. Boss, not base. And there is, I believe that is female. It's hard to tell. This one's not as obvious. There's a little bit of a bump there, but not much. So that's the other fire and air, which is this one here. Oops, this one here. I think that's it. Yep, that's it. Time for pets. There's pet number 1, clearly, fire. There's pet number 2, also fire. 3, actually no, that's the full one right there. That's number 3, that's tier 5 right there. That's tier 4, I think. That's probably tier 3. No, that's tier 3. So that one means that one there is tier 4, and that one's tier 5. Oh, there's our cape. That does not look especially fire, but still kind of cool looking. Looks like the heads of a hydra. Cool. There's the cape right there. So that's number 67. So 67, 65, and 66. Let me move those out really quick. Put them in their own folder. Capes. I guess I could have just put cape. Whatever. Oh, no. I was wrong. There actually is another one. That's kind of cool. Oops. Huh. That's kind of cool looking. I don't know what that is. Huh. That's 2 capes. 2 capes this month. So, 60. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm getting over a bit of a cold. It's almost gone, but it's still tickling my throat occasionally. 68, 70, 71. There's 2 of them. I don't know why. Okay, so 68. Close, would you? 68, 70, and 71. I didn't mean to actually name it capes. I was just going to call it cape, but whatever. So 60 through 64 are also pets. Put those in there really fast. There we go. Now we should be getting into the heads. Okay, so the head, that one is the Fire and Earth. I believe it was this one. Yes, good guess. So I did this the last time, partway through the stream. I started coming through these and kind of showing what the heads and stuff looked like, but I didn't go into super detail on them. The heads are usually identical to the male, but sometimes they look like the female variant instead. The Igneous Blaze male, I think it was, the head looked like it was the female head, not the male head. So it does happen occasionally that they don't match. That's Fire Air, I believe it was number 8. Yes, number 8. And also, by the way, these flares, kind of these horn-looking flare things that come off the sides of the heads up like this, sometimes they make them smaller inside the smaller inside the avatar of the head. So that's the Fire and Air armor number 8. Sometimes they make them a little smaller. And there's the Sapphire Brunei reskin. I thought it was ugly then. It's not as ugly now, but it's still ugly. It still looks like a coffee cup head. I don't know. Whatever. That was the very first one, which was armor number 1. Armor 1's Fire Water. Head. So you have 2 heads, 3 heads so far. The Fire Airs, Fire Air, Fire Earth, and the Fire Water. Okay. That one is a pet. That's the tier 5, I believe. Let me grab all those really quick. So we have 74, 77, 80, 74, 77, 80, 81, 74, 77, 80, and 81. Those are 4 of the 5 pets. Ta-da! There we go. And eventually I'll come across the other one. There's that Water Air. And there's 83. So 83 is the last of the 5. Okay. So, in here, we have tier 5, tier 4, tier 3, tier 2, and tier 1. So the last 2 are out of order. Okay, so this one is tier 2. This one is tier 1. And 80 was tier 3. Whoops, I don't know if I put the 3 at the end there. 77 is tier 4. And 74 is tier 5. So there's the pets. I'll come back to those when I start making the sheet. Done. Cool. Alright, let's close you now. That's the Fire and Air, which was this one? Yes. Number 9. Ta-da! That was the Arcana Stone. Truthfully, I kind of like the color scheme of the original better. I don't think that one looks that great, but whatever. I believe that one was armor number 6. Yes, armor number 6. Good guess. There's the head for that one. And since it's a reskin, the amulet and ring usually look identical. So, whoops, sorry, I bumped the microphone there. And there we go. There's one of the amulets. That's the Sapphire Brunei amulet, actually. So that is armor 1. Fire Water. Amulet. Because I might as well find the ring. Never mind, I found it already. Let's put that in there really quick while we're at it, and then we'll come back to these few heads, because I still have a few heads to go through. Close. Thank you. So this one was the Fire Earth. This one? No. The other Fire Earth. I was close. This one here. Yep. And that one looks like pretty much identical to the other one, so nothing really changes on that one. Like I said, some of them are just a little bit kind of squashed so that they fit better in the picture. Sometimes they don't. It just depends. There's the water and air, which is still just weird to me that there's a water and air in this file in the first place. Didn't I already rename that one? Did I rename the wrong one? I did. Oops. Let's copy that one. This is actually fire and water, I think. Oops. Yep, I renamed it wrong. So this one's actually armor 5, which is this one here. And now this one, I just renamed the wrong one is all it was. Okay. And did I do that again? I may have. I may have named it wrong. Fire Spirit. Yeah, I did. This is the Fire. Copy. So this one is armor 3, Fire. Oops. So this one, which is number 85, I named a few wrong. Oops. I guess what I get for paying attention, I suppose. And there we go. Okay. So I think, let me just double check here. Head. Okay, I'm still missing the head for this one, which I'm sure I'll find later. Or maybe I just haven't, maybe I did already run across it and I just didn't see it. That's armor number 2. Got the head for that one. I don't have the head for this one either. Oh no, I named it wrong. It's armor 5. No wonder it didn't show up in the right place. Derp. Okay, so Fire Spirit I'm still missing. Alright. It'll be in here somewhere, I'm sure. And I did rename the ring and amulet wrong too. That's not the amulet. That's no wonder. That's the Fire Spirit head. Derp. I'm on a roll today. Man, I'm just rocking. No, I'm truthfully just a little tired. A little brain cramp. So this is armor 1, Fire, Water, Amulet. There we go. So that one is actually the Fire Spirit I was just looking at. That's the shield, I believe. Or was it the Fire Spirit? Yes, it was. That guy right there. That is the amulet for number 2. There's the shield of the air and water. Okay. That is the ring for the reskin of the Arcana Stone. So that's armor 1, fire, water, ring. Oh, did I do that again? I must have done that again. Yeah, that's a major derp right there. That's the oh, duh. What am I doing? It's not even the right one. It's this one. I'm totally just getting ahead of myself is all it is. Okay. There we go. That's the ring for the Fire and Spirit reskin. Let me find the amulet really quick. 93. There we go. Okay, so that one is the Fire and Earth. I believe it was number... Yes, number 7. Okay. Number 7. Ring. I'm almost done with this already. Well, organizing anyway. That is the Fire and Spirit, I believe it was. Yes, that's the weapon. So the ring is the weapon. Okay. Okay. Alright, so we can close that one now, get that one out of the way. Would you close, please? Thank you. That is the shield of... I think it was this one? Yes, I was right. That's the shield of armor numbered 5. Which is the amulet in this case. That one was fire and air. I believe it was this one. Nope, not even close. It was the second fire, or it was the first fire and air, not the second one. Yeah, has that wing thing on the shield there. Okay, so that one is fire and air, 95. Fire and air ring. Ta-der. That one, hang on, I don't even know on that one. Fire spirit, maybe? I don't know about that one. Definitely not that one. Or that one. Was it the dual fire, maybe? Yeah, it's got the little skull looking thing on the weapon, as well as on the shield. And there it is right there, it's on the shoulder. Okay, so it's the dual fire ring. It's kind of a cool looking one, actually. Simplistic, but cool. There's the shield. So that's the amulet for the same armor. Makes it easy. That's the air and water, I think. Although I don't really see that particular design anywhere on there. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of looks like the front of the head, sort of. I don't think that it looks like anything else in here, though, so I'm going to assume that's what it looks like. That's what it's going to go with. So that one, that's the ring for it. Okay. That one was the fire and earth. I believe it was this one. Yes, that's the shields, that's the amulet. And that's the shoulder of the fire water, was it? Yeah, shoulder of the fire water. So it's this one here. So 100 is the ring for number 5. That's the shield for the fire air. Yes. That's the other fire air, which was this one. Yes, that's exactly the same as the shield, in fact. That's the top of the head of the other fire air, if I recall. Yep. And that's the shield for the fire earth, which I think was this one. Nope, nope, the other one. The other one. Fire earth. Yep, that one right there. Okay. I think I'm almost done. Gone much faster this time around. That's the ring for the exact same armor. Okay, so that's the ring for that exact same guy. And there's crafting material 1 and crafting material 2. Now, there's been a few instances where the crafting material looks exactly like one of the armors, like I think it was the month we had the Keratos Safeguard, the Dual Earth exclusive. The crafting material looked just like the Fusion only armor, the Air Earth, I think it was for that month. It looked identical, but it wasn't for that armor. It was actually for the Keratos Safeguard, so who knows? I think it was even called a Sentinel Mark or something. So Sentinel, Mistralian, whatever, I don't know. But so that guy right there does look just like the hammer, or the axe rather, of the fire. Was it fire water? No, not fire water. What am I doing? It's fire spirit. This one, right? Nope, not even close. Which one was it now? Was it the fire? Yeah, fire. Looks just like the fire. So we could have a dual exclusive. Doubtful, but we could have one. So that's crafting material 1. So this is going to be season 22, material 1. And then this is season 22. I just named it SF22 because I've named all of them previously SF22. So it's season 22 Shadowforged. So there's material 1 and material 2. Okay, so now the fun part. We get to go through and we start to actually create the armors based on these. Let me do the first 4 to start building the armor shapes themselves, the armor images. Once I have all those built, which I'll put into a different folder entirely, I'll start actually assembling the sheets, or assembling the sheet for the month. So this one is number 1. Let's put these in some sort of order here. So I've got 2, 3, 4. Okay. So number 1. Here we go. Where's the head? This one, the color scheme on this one, honestly, I like the previous one a little. Whoops, I'm a little too far there. I like the color scheme of the original a little bit better than this one. They're really not that different. This one is water and fire. The previous one was water and earth. So at least they're keeping some of the elements consistent between them, just like with the Photic Watch, which is the exclusive for this month, for April, is a reskin of an air and fire, but it's now water and fire. So, I don't know. So it's, you know, they're keeping some things consistent and they're changing other things. So they're keeping the elements, at least one of them in this case, consistent, but they're changing it to something else. They're changing the armor elements otherwise, and this kind of look and feel is somewhat different. But this one is, as I said, water and fire instead of water and earth, which was the original elements. But, you know, it's still kind of a cool looking armor, I suppose, but it's the shield, to me, is just goofy. It just looks weird. I don't understand why they have that kind of a goofy shield on there. It just looks weird to me. I don't know why they would think it would be necessary to have that big of a shield. But whatever. It is kind of a cool looking armor, all in all, but just not my thing. And there is the water and fire. Alright. Armor number 1 is almost done. See, that shield's just huge. Like, if I try to put it up here, it goes right behind the head. It's just, I don't know. It just seems too big to me. This floating bit in the front here and the floating stuff above the head. I don't know. I guess it's artistically kind of cool, but it's definitely not my kind of art at all. Okay. This one I'm going to have to blend. There's way too much hand in the way here. About there. Zoom in a bit. Take some of the edge of that one off there so I can get that in behind it. And I definitely have to trim, or kind of clean this up, because the edge for the sleeve here for the armor is just way too... This is kind of going over the top of it, so I have to kind of clean this up a little bit and make it look more like it did originally. Like that. Now I get the handle, or the hilt, and I drop that back behind. This is another one of those armors, like I mentioned in the last stream, that you might not even be able to tell it's here. But I know it's here, so if I don't put it in there, I will notice, or I will know, and it will irritate me. So I put them in just in case. Because it's something that I would notice, because, you know, granted I'm the one putting these together, but I know it's there. So even though you might not know, I do, and it would bug me if I left it out. Okay, so that one's two... Now I don't know if you can actually see it on the screen, but right down at the bottom right here, there's the pixel size, and I go to here and I get the right side, which is the left-hand number there, and I get it about, so in this case it's about 270, and the height is about 260-ish. So I make them a square, and then I just kind of center it in that square. So that way when I put it up on the wiki or on the sheet itself, it's already in a square layout. So this is armor number 1, and I'm going to save this one in the new folder I just created. Pictures. Right. Oh, nope. This month. I just want to say last month, but it's this month. Armor 1, fire, water, male. There we go. There's that one. Ta-da! Number 1 down. This one, fire and spirit. Now, don't quote me on this. This one, or sorry, this one is one of the raid armors, by the way. This is one of the raid armors. The other fire spirit, which is the reskin, I think is going to be another elite, or exclusive, whatever you want to call it. I think it's going to be another one. Just like this month we have the reskin of the Conflagration, this time we have a reskin of the Arcana Stone. Personally, I think this one looks cooler, but this kind of has the same sort of little headdress that the boss has, and it's fire and spirit, so it makes sense. It would be the one that would go with the raid. Anyway, not my pick of things, but what are you going to do? Okay, so this one kind of, I think, is one of the cooler ones in this particular month's data. Kind of cool, that big spike on the shoulder, and kind of that, almost like, looks like a face made out of clay, sort of, with like these like blondish looking hairs coming out the back. Kind of cool, I think. there's that. About like that. The legs kind of still has that same sort of runic looking symbols along the side of the leg there, and then it's also on the chest and also on the head. It's kind of cool. But yeah, I think this one is probably my favorite in this month's data. It just has a simplistic design to it. It's kind of cool, and I don't know, just this is my pick of the armors this particular month. I just like the look of it. Yep, there we go. So that's the armor. Kind of cool. I like it. Shield, meh. It's okay. Has the same sort of theme of you've got the little spiky guys coming off the front there, and you got the little spikes here that match the weapon. It's kind of cool. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the shield, but all in all, I like the armor in general. Otherwise, there's the shield. And there is the hand and weapon. I'm going to have to blend that one in too, because that one overlaps. There we go. Okay. And the hilt, the rest of the weapon handle, if you will. In this case, it's kind of like an axe-looking thing. This is going to go right about there. There it is. So this is one of the two raid armors. This is the Fire and Spirit. They're right about there. Width-wise, about 260. Yep, 260. Okay, so that one's wider than it is tall, which is really not that abnormal. So there's armor number 2, Fire and Spirit. Armor 2, Fire Spirit. Ta-da! 2 down. Alright, dual fire. This one is going to be a fusion armor. Almost guaranteed, but I have been wrong before. It's possible they could do another dual elite. Exclusive, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, it's entirely possible they'll do another dual exclusive, but I doubt it. Just like in previous months, though, if they've had the crafting material looks like a particular armor, but it isn't for that armor. So usually they do, but when we had what was it, last fire month? I think it was Chantico Absorber. It was the Fire and Earth. That looked nearly identical to the Gosuku Oni from years ago. It seems like months ago. It was like identical in look and feel. Like the only difference was that the head was slightly different, and the weapon was slightly different, but it looked pretty much identical in every other way. That one, the crafting material looked just like that armor, but it wasn't for it. It was for the Burnwill Lance, if I remember right. I think. I don't remember. I'm getting my months mixed up. It might have been that one. It might have been a different one. But it was for a totally different armor, but it looked just like that armor. So there's no way to know. They have the materials, you know, the regular crafting materials, of course, there's really no rhyme or reason to those for the regular seasonals. But for the exclusive, they usually match, or at least looks similar to it in some way. But they've kind of strayed away from that in the past several months. They're not always the same anymore. They're sometimes similar, but not always. Okay. There's that one. Oh, I was going to show you before I did anything else to it. There it is. Kind of a cool looking helmet, really. You got that skull in the front of it. Kind of a happy looking skull sort of belt. Skull arms, or skull shoulder plates, the pauldrons. And then the shield clearly has a very skull motif to it as well. And we have the shield now, which will go right about there. Which kind of covers up the shoulder, sadly, but that happens, unfortunately, a lot. I almost nailed that just by pasting it on here. Doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while. Okay, clean up that edge a little bit. Not too much, thankfully, because that one's mostly matching already. And then we have the handle, or the hilt, or whatever you want to call it. This one you can clearly see. If I didn't include it, you'd be able to see that the handle is missing on the back end here. If I put this right about like so, there we are. There's the dual fire. Now on occasion, when I have a dual, I'll put the dual all by itself on the right. This time around, I'm probably just going to do 2 rows of 5. So we have top row, and then we have the bottom row below it. Then we have, you know, bosses, pets, etc. on the bottom below that. But if I have 9 armors and I have the dual kind of all by itself, I will take it out of the mix. Like if it's armor number 3 or 4, I'll do 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then I'll do that one on the far right all by itself, just so it's, you know, clearly separate from the rest. Because 9 times out of 10 they usually are fusion. So this one's 245-ish, 260, so it's actually taller than it is wide. Actually, I can do 255 on that one. Make it a little bit smaller. There we go. I could probably even do 250, actually. I don't want to have all that empty blank space on the side there, on the top and bottom. Okay, so this is armor number 3. Fire, fire. Done. Okay. And fire and earth. Alright. Give me just a second here. Sorry, I've got a message popping up on me. Oops. Knocked the microphone. Okay, there we go. Alright, place the head here. This is the one of the 2 fire and earths. Thankfully they've gone back to doing 2 of each most of the time. 2 of each element combination. So you'll have 2 fire airs, 2 fire earths, 2 fire waters, 2 fire spirits, etc. And then usually just 1 dual. Although if there's enough weekends in the month, they may have 2 duals. And they'll have one of them be a war armor. Which it doesn't happen that often, but that's usually what happens with those. Again, let's see here how this goes. About there. That looks good. That one's not as easy to tell where it belongs. It's like, I don't know where that goes. That head doesn't really seem to fit on top of that chest. But I worked it out. Okay, and here's the legs. Which will go right about there. And the arm, top right corner again. Happens a lot more than you might think. That arm in the top right corner. Weird. Don't know why they do that, but it happens a lot. There's the arm. This one I'm thinking is going to be like the Firelash Feller. It's going to be a pretty beefy armor. Or beefy, I mean good defense. It just looks like a good defense armor. There it is right there. Okay, shield. Shield's kind of cool, I suppose. Has this kind of these runic symbols on it. They've been doing that a lot lately, kind of those runes. I don't know why they're doing that. The last few months they've had kind of these runic symbols on them, which are, I guess, kind of cool, but kind of like we had a steampunk armor. It seemed like every single month somebody's got a steampunk hair up their butt. Now we have somebody that has a runic sort of hair up their butt, I guess you could call it. Clean that up a little bit there. Maybe it makes it easier to put the handle in behind it, because this is a long one. There we go. Whoa, get back there. What are you doing? Calm down there. Slow down there, Turbo. Right about there. Ta-da! There's that one. It looks almost like a sledgehammer sort of weapon on that one. Okay. 285. This is a wide one. Yep. Wide and not very tall. One of the larger ones for this one, for this particular month. Get that about centered. There we go. armor 4, fire earth. Okay, back to, whoops, here. Do these guys here. Whoops, not that one. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's 6, 7, 5, 8. There we go. Okay. This one is also another one of the ones that I really like for this month. It just kind of looks cool. It has kind of these like spiky, almost coral looking thing to it, I guess. Kind of a coral shaped look to it, I guess. Best way to describe it. Like the shoulders kind of look like coral or like fins, sort of. So it's clearly water, but also has kind of the fiery look to it, like the spikes coming off here, and that spike there is clearly fire, and the front of the head is clearly fire. It's kind of a cool looking armor. I like this one also. Not my favorite, but I do like it. There we go. Sorry, I was just checking line really quick to see if I had any messages for me that I needed to pay attention to. But I don't. Well, at least not something I need to respond to right now, anyway. Alright. Definitely a cool looking armor. And I did mention this in the last stream, that there's about a 20-second delay, 15-20-second delay, something like that. Oops, I don't have the shield, dumbass. I need the arm first. So if you do send me a message through the chat, and I don't immediately respond, it's because there's probably a delay, and I'm not looking over there all that frequently during this. So if you do send me a message and I don't immediately respond, it's probably because I'm not looking over there, or it could be delayed. So something to be aware of. Alright. There's the shield. This one just has kind of a cool color scheme. I like the color scheme on this one. This one I'm going to have to blend in too. Too much hand over there. Kind of covering up the effect of this arm. There we go. Much better. Mo better. Alrighty. That one's going to go right about there. Perfect. Yeah, I think this is kind of a cool looking armor, really, just in general. Like I said, not my favorite, but definitely one of the top anyway. Get that guy up to about there, width-wise. 285, another one. I'm going to be safe in assuming that's going to be another wide one that's not very tall. Yep. About there. Number 5. Firewater, I think. Yeah, okay, good. I was just making sure. I was like, ah, shit. Which one is this one? But yeah, it was Firewater. Okay. I thought I remembered it being Firewater, but just wanted to be sure. Okay. And by the way, when I'm doing the assembly here, I always create my base layer. I just delete everything that's there, and then I always create a layer on top of that, and then I do everything behind it. So that way, I always have a background in the very far back. So I always have the ability to go back and go, oh wait, I need to put this behind something. I always do that just to be safe. Just something I learned after the first couple of months and screwing things up and going, oh crap, I didn't want to do that. So it's just something I always do, out of habit ever since then. Alright. You know what? Now that I look at it, I kind of do like the color scheme of this one a little bit better. The previous one was cool, but I kind of like the color scheme of this one a little bit better. Not a lot. Whoops, I want to cut, I want to copy. It still has the same look and feel for the most part as the previous one, as the original. But this one just kind of, I don't know, the colors just pop a little bit better, I guess. I don't know, whatever. Just kind of looks cooler. Now that I look at it, it kind of does blend a little bit better than the original. But these little white flary guys that come off the shoulder here, that's very season 3 and before sort of look. A lot of the armor since then have not had those kind of white flary bits coming off the sides. Like if you look at the Sylphine Reaper, Spirit and Air from season 2 or 3, that one has those white flary bits coming off all over the place. So that's a good example of one you can kind of look at for comparison. Also the Terravale Stormcoat, the one that has like the reindeer look to it, that one also has the flary bits coming off the weapons, off the weapon and off the shield a bit. Anyway, that's that one. So it's a very common thing that they used to do. They don't do it as much anymore. It's mostly just a little bit of a look and feel change to the armor itself, more than anything, and the weapon, of course. But they don't do these kind of white flary bits because, unfortunately, with a lot of these armors, they get lost. You don't see them anymore. Like this one here, you can kind of see the shoulder there, but this one, you can't see any of that behind the shield. You know, I mean, you want to put that shield roughly in the middle of where the hand would be. It's gone. You can't see most of it. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. But I like it when they kind of put the armors and the banners without the weapons and without the shield, so you can really kind of see what the armor looks like, because without that, you really can't see it. I mean, it's hidden. You can't see it at all. So, okay, so there's the hand. I have to blend this one in too, as usual. There we go. And the handle. This. Oops, no, don't cut, copy. Second time I've done that on the same sheet, for the same armor. Putting the wrong buttons on my keyboard. Get up here. This is another one of those ones that you wouldn't be able to tell that it was even missing. But I would notice. Just like that. There we go. You can kind of see the bit of the end of that handle coming out there. I think they may have also changed the angle of this slightly. I think it may have been more angled downward. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm smoking large quantities of crack. Who knows? But I seem to remember it being angled somewhat more downward. Again, I could be wrong. Okay, this one's a wide puppy. Holy shit, 303. Yeah, so this one's a wide one. So let's do 305 and just assume that's going to be... Whoops, no, we're not 305, 3. Oh, for crap's sake. Type. There we go. So that one is fairly tall, but it's also extremely wide. So this is armor number 6. Fire Spirit. Ta-da! And no, I don't need to save it because I didn't actually do anything to it other than just cut instead of copy. Fire Earth number 2. This one, the helmet's kind of cool looking. The rest of the armor is too simplistic. I don't know. Just seems really basic to me. Not even like, you know, like a ripped rib cage or like a chest plate that's got like, you know, ribs and stuff, and you can kind of see the six-pack. I don't know, it just seems kind of plain to me. And this is the fully ascended version. It just, I don't know, doesn't strike me as anything super cool. Usually they have some kind of like accentuation or something that makes it clearly, this is a Shadow Forged armor. But this one just looks too simple. Guess it's better than going overkill and having it have too much flair, but I don't know. Looks a little weird to me. Oops, not that one, this one. That's going to go right about there. I mean, it's cool in armor in its own way, but it just looks too simplistic to me. And there's the armor in the top right corner again. The armor. The arm. I mean, it's kind of cool in its own way, but I don't know. I don't like it. This one I don't like. Yeah. I don't like it. Just me. You're of course allowed to like it. You might think it's badass, but I just not my cup of tea. Not a big fan. The shield is kind of cool. I like it. But I don't know. This is probably going to be a war armor. Just a guess, but I think it probably will be. No way of knowing, of course, until we get closer and they actually announce it, but announce which ones are seasonals, which ones are raid and whatnot. Well, I mean, the raid ones I can tell you already, but until we have an idea of which ones are seasonals, we can't really say, this one's definitely war, or this one's definitely seasonal. We don't know until they tell us which ones are seasonals. I mean, I'll give my predictions, but no way of knowing for sure. So, hey man, I recognize that name. That's one of my guild members on EU. Just followed me. And apologies if I butcher the pronunciation. I would say Harun, or Harun. Apologies if I butchered it, but anyway. Thank you. There we go. So this one's also another wide-ish one. This one's actually probably the widest of the bunch. Oops. There we go. This is 315. That's a wide armor. And really short comparatively. Yeah, well, whatever. Okay, so this is armor number 7. Fire Earth also, if I recall correctly. Yep, okay. And I'm looking, by the way, up here in the top left corner that you can't really see because I have that Datamine logo right here. So, or text box, I should say. It's right there and kind of in the way. So, sorry, I keep bumping the microphone with my hand as I'm typing. So apologies if I'm making people deaf. Alright. And I'm kind of trying to go through this somewhat quickly so that people, if they want to watch, they're not sitting here waiting for me to do all sorts of crap, so... Or all sorts of crap. Waiting for me to do things that they want to see that I haven't done yet. You know, in the previous video, all of what you're seeing right now in the previous stream, I did all of this. Did all the same stuff. I'm just doing, instead of only doing about maybe the kind of the middle third of it, I'm doing the middle third and the last third. So I'm doing basically the 2/3 of it that would be the part that would actually be somewhat entertaining. Because the first part, the extraction process, radical understatement to say it's boring as hell. Because it's just boring. It's just going through a file and with a hex editor and looking for the beginning bit of the PNG file, and then holding shift and going down, page down, page down, page down, page down, until you find the ending bit of the PNG file. And then you extract that, save it in a folder. Go to the next file and go repeat, 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 repeat. Anywhere between 85 and 125 times per month. So, Legion, who also does this, he's an iOS guy, he does this as well. So I need to send him the link to these, speaking of which, if he hasn't already found them. He does it as well, and he's gotten to be really fast at it. It does take a while, of course, learning what you're looking for. But once you've done it 2-3 times, it's really just, it's literally rinse and repeat. It's the same thing over and over again. So it's not really anything too difficult, per se. It's just really time-consuming. So anyway, so this is the armor there. There's the fire arrow. That's the first of the two. The shield is really simplistic, but I kind of like simplistic. This looks more kind of like a standard armor, like what most people would think of when they think of like a knight in armor. This kind of looks like armor. I mean, the flares off the head are a bit extreme, obviously, but it looks like a regular sort of armor. Like when you look at pictures of knights in armor, that's kind of what you would expect to see. And the weapon is anything but what you'd expect to see. It looks like a big-ended spear, I guess, the best way to describe it. I'll clean that up there a little bit so I can bring in the rest of the handle behind it. And then the wrist, of course, needs to be cleaned up. There we go. So yeah, this is kind of like what you'd think when you think of an armor. This is actually similar in a lot of ways to the armor I showed you guys in the stream, I believe it was last time around, for last month. I'm drawing a blank on which one it was. It wasn't one of the seasonals. It was Water Earth, I think? I can't remember now. It's not the current war armor, and it's not one of the raid armors. I think it's the other war, if I recall. It's Water and Earth, anyway. I'll see if I can pull it up here really quick and show you what I mean. But this one has a very similar look on the weapon, at least, anyway. With that one, it has a very similar kind of, double-ended spear, and I did mention that in the last stream. Very similar. Okay, so this is about 255. Yep, that's a relatively small one. Armor 8, fire air. Okay. Now we go back to the folder again. Oops. Folder. There we go. And sorry, I just hit the microphone again. I'm sorry. Making people deaf. So these are the two. So this one is the fire and air. This one is, for whatever reason, a water and air. But give me just a quick second here. I'm going to have a quick vape break. And no, I'm not doing this to be cool. I quit smoking 5 years ago doing this. So I've been off cigarettes for 5 years this past February. I'd been smoking for about 20 years when I quit. So okie dokie. Back into here. Alright, now we go to the second to last armor, and then I start putting together the sheet. And that's, truthfully, probably the second most boring part of this whole process, is laying everything out on a sheet together. It's really not that exciting. Let's see, let me zoom that out a little bit. Out there, I think. Let me see if I slide that to the right. No, that's way too far over. Right about there should be good. This one's kind of cool. I like it. It's almost like a... I'm going to sound like an ass when I say this. It's like a band performance. Like if you ever see people in like marching band or something, it kind of almost looks like a marching band outfit, with the obvious exception of the skull, and it looking very kind of fiery and demonic. It looks like a band outfit. Like it has the big shoulder plates and everything, like marching band. I don't know. For those of you who are in the States, you probably know what I'm talking about. Don't know if they have this in Europe, but marching band. Anyway, it looks like a marching band outfit to me. I don't know. It's just that kind of top hat-ish looking top, and then this very kind of flared looking thing. I don't know. Looks like a marching band outfit to me anyway. This part right here obviously takes away from that, the shield. But so there's that. There's the armor. It's kind of funny. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm a dumbass. It's okay. That obviously takes away from the whole theme of that, with having this massive fiery fire-eyed skull with blades coming off the corners of it. But whatever. All right, and then this guy here is like, what do they call that fencing sword? Is it epaulet, I think? Anyway, but it looks like a fencing, like the sword, the one that says that's the point that they use in fencing. It kind of looks like that. I think it's called an epaulet, but I could be wrong. But yeah, it kind of looks like that. Well, it kind of looks almost like a cross between that and a lance. Like it has this big front piece that would cover up your hand. Right as you hold it like this, it would kind of like a shield for your hand. Looks almost like a lance, but kind of almost like an epaulet. I don't know. It's cool, I guess, in its own way, but whatever. There's the handle. Itty bitty little guy up here in the corner. And that goes right about there. Ta-da! Second to last armor down. And that goes right about there. This one's going to be another wide one. Not as wide as the others, oddly enough, but still fairly wide. That's actually a little bit shy of what I wanted. Oops, no, 290. There we go. That's a little bit better. Not quite as close on the sides. About right there. Armor 9. Okay, and last but not least, the weird one. The one that does not belong in this month at all, because it's water and air. Whatever. Okay. I mean, it's kind of a cool looking armor in its own way. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it really just doesn't belong here. It's a fire month. You know, it's fire. They've been pretty consistent with that for a while now, for many, many months. And for whatever reason, this guy is in here because of water and air. I'm guessing, just a guess, that second cape, because it kind of looks like this, was designed to go with this. Let me jump actually back to the folder here and I'll show you what I mean. This one right here. If I go back to here, it looks like it belongs with that. Same kind of color scheme, you know, it's got the same kind of like little dots and things that go around here, little bits and pieces, and the white bits on the edges. It looks like the same kind of theme, so it looks almost like, I wouldn't go so far as to say it looks like a mech, but anyone who's seen like any of those mech, they were TV shows and movies, and now I can't think of the names of them. Anybody that watched those would understand what I mean. It looks like a mech that had people inside of them that would be controlling them, but it looks like a mech, and that wing thing looks like it comes off of the back like wings. So, what is the name of that show now? It's going to drive me nuts. Oh, crap. For some reason, Astromech has come in mind. I know that's wrong. I'll think of it, and as soon as I don't think about it, it'll come to mind. Anyway, it was really popular back in the 80s when I was a kid, but it was a TV show at the time. I think they may even made movies about it, but it looks like a mech. It's very common in a lot of Japanese animation and anime in general to have mechs in their battle mechs that they would use. And to be truthful, the whole Pacific Rim storyline was a direct rip-off, in my opinion, of mechs from the original Japanese animations. I mean, don't get me wrong, the movie's a badass movie, but it's just a direct rip-off. Kind of like Voltron, which, if you know Voltron, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers were an utter rip-off. Just total blatant rip-off of Voltron. That is a huge armor. That's probably the biggest armor I have seen in the game. Just for curiosity. Yep, it's bigger than I thought it was. So, just for reference, the first elite, which was water and air, what was it called now? Slipstream Scale Guard. I think it was the first exclusive, first elite. Was around 350 pixels wide. This one is 390 or 380, I suppose. Actually, it's a little bit wide. This one is wider than that one was, and that was massive. It was wide armor. Huge. I could probably even go smaller than that. So 375. There we go. That should be good. So this one, the Slipstream Scale Guard, was about 350. That was the widest armor so far that I'd seen. And I've gone through every file in the game, so I've seen every image there is. The tallest one, by far, was Jugong's Heirs. It was Dragon Forged. Tallest, it was like 315 or 320 tall. This one is the widest, by far. Like 25 plus pixels in width, wider. It's massive. Anyway, so that one is, whoops, no, this is going to be, save that one. Armor 10. Water air, for whatever reason. This must be an event armor or something. I can't think of any other reason to have it in here. Okay, now we're going to do a new one. We're going to make this one, let's do 1300 by 1100. make it big. Okay. Now what I usually do at this point when I'm putting together the entire sheet is I will go back into the folder, that's the capes, I will take all of the amulets and rings, and usually the heads as well, and I will copy them into the folder where I have all the images I just created from the armors in this folder here, from the armors that were still in pieces, and I will copy all of these, and I did do this again in the previous Datamine as well, the previous stream. I will copy everything into that folder I created with just the armor images. So if I paste that in here, now I have amulet, head, armor, ring, amulet, head, armor, ring, etc., etc., etc. So it just makes it easier to kind of throw on the sheet together. So now I can come into here, and I'm going to take this actually off the screen because it's kind of in my way on this big sheet here. So now if I go into, actually no, maybe I will keep it here, it'll make it a little bit easier. So first things first, let's make a new layer here. So this is my background layer, so this is always going to be my background. So I go to here, what I will usually do is I will take, now the armors on average are usually under 300 pixels in height, top to bottom, and the ring and amulets are about 96 by 96, so they're about 100-ish. So I usually go with about 400 pixels, and if you look down here in this bottom right corner, where did my mouse go? There it is. Down here you can see that's the arrangement of where I am. So if I'm here in the bottom right corner, that's the 1300 by 1100 right there in that bottom right corner. Up here in the top left corner, 1 and 1, or in this case, -2 and 3. Anyway, so what I usually will do is I'll go down here to about 400, about 400 roughly, and I'll make basically a square. And then I'll go down until I'm about at the 800 mark, roughly, and I can of course change this as I go. So I have 2 lines that I can put everything on. Now that's going to be rather large. I'm actually going to undo that. I'm going to do 350 instead. I don't think I need that much room. 350 to 700, right about there. Now this is just a reference point when I'm putting the armors down, so I can make sure they kind of all line up side by side. So that's my plan. And once I put these on, once I start putting the armors on here, if I find it's still too tall this way, I'll just shorten it up. I'll take this line here and I'll move it up a bit, and I'll take this one and I'll move it up a bit as well. So let's go back to here. We're going to take, first of all, our fire water, drop it in place. If I put this over here, you can see it kind of falls behind that. That's actually the reverse of what I want. I want this to go on top of it. Whoops. I want this to go over it, so you can't see it behind it when I put it on top. Okay, there we go. I may actually have to make this wider. 1300 might not be wide enough, because I have 5 armors on each row. Yeah, I'm going to have to make it wider. A lot, actually. Let's resize this puppy. Let's do 1600 just to be safe. And then again, I'm going to have to go into here, and I'm going to have to delete this background entirely, because I don't want any of that white back there at all. And then I will draw new lines. Just do a line. Maybe I have to do it. I'll just do the whole thing over again. It's fine. Let's go into here, and we'll go like this, and delete that. Delete that one as well. There we go. Make a new square. Okay, so at the 350 mark, 350 to 100. Right about there. Works for me. Okay. So there's my first armor. I go back into here and I can now move him if I need to. I want him to kind of sit right on that line there, but not be right up against this upper edge, this outer edge. Okay. And number 2. What are you doing? Copy, paste. There we go. I'll put this guy right about there. Actually, I think I might have overkill on the size. Let me just double check here. Actually, no, I'm good. I should be good actually with that. Should be about perfect. Number 3, there's our dual fire. So they're all sitting right about on that line. There's our fire and earth. I try to butt these up against the other ones, but not right up against them, so I still have some room to put the ring and amulet above them. and still have room over here on the right if I need to put anything else. And number 5. That's the wide one. That's the second widest one in this pack, which actually works out well because I'll have the other big wide one right below it. So it works out. So there's those first 5. And there's our reskin. The second reskin. Okay. Looking pretty good. Why are you not alt-tabbing like you should be, you goofy thing? This one's a big one. This is a big, wide one. Kind of throw my balance off. My armors are kind of like good here because these are all kind of shorter, not quite as wide. Then you got these big old wide bastards that kind of throw everything off. I can shift these if I need to, though. Kind of make it look a little bit more balanced. This one's another shorty. Oh, actually, before I forget, that one, Fire and Air, number 8. Go back to here. When was it now? Was it this one? No, it wasn't that one. It was actually one of the... Maybe it was a seasonal and I'm just smoking crack. It was the Shuoi. Yep, there it is. That's the seasonal Water Earth. Very similar looking weapon. Like, very, very similar. So if I go back to here and I jump into here and open up that Fire Air and I move it, very, very similar. It's almost like they copied most of the design of that one. They just changed the color scheme in the middle of it and made it a little bit lighter here, a little bit more goldish here. Whatever. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out because I knew it looked familiar. I knew I'd seen it before. I just couldn't think of where I'd seen it. Okay, there's another wide guy right there on the line. And my big old humongously wide, stupidly huge on the far right. I'm going to have to balance out the top. It's just going to look funky if I don't. Okay, here we go. Let's do this. Move this over like that. And then we'll take this guy here. This is going to look funky. It's just the way it is. I'm not going to like it probably either, but just to kind of more balance things out a little bit so it's not quite as goofy looking as it normally would look. I guess. Kind of weird, but whatever. Okay. Now, go back to here and do the ring. Right about, actually nope, sorry. I do this in another layer besides, on top of the existing one. So there's the ring. And I'll sometimes zoom in here so that I can kind of line things up properly. I put the ring generally kind of directly over the weapon. And this is just me. This is just how I do it. And then the amulet more or less directly over the head. Like so. Then we do ring for number 2. Alt-tab, you piece of crap. And we do the ring. And again, this one's a little shorter. This one's a little taller, so it's going to look like there's a little bit of a gap here. But it's fine. It's still going to be clearly, you know, this is where this belongs, you know, so. And you'll notice the little flarings, the little black flarings off the sides. Back when they still had Dragon Forged in the game, or new Dragon Forged, I should say, they'd put them in the files as well, but they didn't have that black kind of effect coming off of the back there. Like you can see it here. If you come over here, you can kind of see it coming off the back of the amulet and off the back of the ring. That was the one way to easily differentiate between them, on the bling anyway. The armors obviously look different because they had, you know, the clear shadow forged effects, like the swirl, the aura at the feet, the particle effects coming off the shoulders and coming out of the eyes. You know, or well, I guess the eyes are the same because Dragon Forged had those too. But the effects were, you could see them obviously more you know, clearly, which ones were which. Okay, so back to here. Nope, not what I wanted. There we go. Wrong folder. Okay, let's go to, we are now on number 3. Why are you keep doing this to me? There we go. Keep alt-tabbing it. It's alt-tabbing me to a different window. So there's that guy, which again matches the shoulder that you can't really see because the shield covers it. And then we have the amulet right there. Okay. Actually, I'm going to do the amulets first since they're already in that order anyway. Amulet right about there. And ring right about there. Okay. Amulet for our fire water dude. And there is the ring. Okay, row number 2. Amulet. This one is, again, it's a reskin, so the amulet and the ring are, other than the color scheme, obviously, identical to the originals. These look exactly the same as the original ones. If you go to the wiki, which I also do a lot of work on, I went through all the armors and actually made a table specifically for ring and amulet sets, so you can see the pictures and the stats. So I was able to get all those filled in. I think I'm only missing the stats for some really old Shadow Forged, like some of the first ones before seasonals, and I think I'm missing the armor stats for 4 or 5. But I filled in everything else I could get my hands on. So that's also something I do. I also maintain the wiki, so if any of you are curious, it is also me on there. And any of the armor sheets you might see coming around, the stat sheets, those are also mine. So, needless to say, I went full hog with this hobby. I went whole hog. Okay, anyway. So there's the ring, or the amulet, excuse me, and the ring. Like so. Amulet. And ring. And amulet. And ring. Again, I don't see this particular design anywhere in there, like at all. But, you know, it doesn't match any of the other ones because they're obviously, you know, they obviously match each other. Like you can look at that one and say, oh, okay, that looks just like, you know, the front of the chest plate. This looks just like the shield. This looks just like the shoulder. This just looks like the shield. You know, they clearly go hand in hand. This one doesn't look like anything in the files otherwise, except this one. The color scheme matches. That's the only clear indicator that it goes there. I can't really see any other reason. So there are the 10 armors for the month of May. So now I get to put the rest of the files, or the rest of the data on here, like the boss images, the pets, the capes, because there's 2 of them this time around. So let me just get into here. We're going to do one more layer. But before I get too heavy into that, let me pull up my other folder here that has my elements in it. Since this is Fire Month, I'm going to start putting the elements down here. So this is Fire. All these are Fire, except for the very last one. For whatever weird reason, we have that random one in there that doesn't belong. Fire. All right. There, get up there. There we go. Fire. And then we got a fire here. And this part is probably going to be boring because I'm just laying things out, lining things up, etc., etc. Okay, there's that one. Now we've got air. Let's go ahead and do the airs first since it's alphabetically the first. Air right about, oh, too far, there we go. And air right about there. I may actually move this one over here just slightly. That's why I do things in layers, because I can just move it without messing with the image behind it. There we go. And since this one's also an air, I'll go ahead and drop this one on here as well, because this is water and air for whatever weird reason. I'm going to assume it's water air. It's not really clearly outlined in there one way or the other which one it is, because it doesn't belong in this file anyway, from what I can see. There's water, oops, water and air, there we go. Then we have water over here on this guy here as well. Like that. And then I believe it was this one here as well. Firewater, yeah, just making sure. Making sure I remembered right, and I did. Okay, there we go. Now we got spirit, which was this one. Whoops, no, don't do that. There we go. Spirit, which was this one, if I recall correctly. Or number 2 and number 6. That's right. Okay, I thought so. Just was making sure. Okay. Now we do fire and... Oh, I forgot to put the second fire in my dual fire. Oops. Derp. Actually, I need to come back in here and move that fire up a little bit. He's a little bit too low. Just for my own sanity. Because that will bug me. There we go. Now it's on the line. Right on the line or just above the line I'm okay with, but he was below the line. He was off of where he should be. Okay, now we have earth. Oops, I'm in the wrong layer. That one right there. There we go. Oh, it goes over the top. Okay, now I know I'm in the right layer. There's fire and earth, and the other fire and earth. And I may end up moving, just like I did before. That one's a little bit too close to that foot. Bugs me. Needs to be just a little bit farther away. Not a lot, just a little. Okay, there's the elements. Ta-da! Alright, so now, I'm going to get our box here. So let's put this about, let's see, what's the, this is 1600, so about the 800 mark, about here to about, whoops, might help if I actually had, there we go, okay, so box to about there, I might need to move that. Kind of center it more. There we go. That'll work. Then we take this and we go blink. Now this is going to be all in the same layer as these elements, just because I don't really need to worry about that too much. I'm going to put in here. We're going to center this. Change this to my favorite format here. My favorite font, rather. About 26 usually. This is New Shadow Forged. And I knew that was going to be a little bit wide, but that's okay. I'm actually going to bump that up a bit. Let's do 28. There we go. Okay, so there's that. And once I've done that, I will go back to the original folder, and I will get my crafting materials. I'll drop them on right to the sides of that text box. So, that's that. Now I'm going to go in and get the pets and capes and bosses. So let's take these two here, let's copy those into here. There we go. And into here. And we're just going to take these two guys here and we're going to copy and paste those directly into here. There we go. Okay. So, oh, now I got the wrong ones. That's last month. That's this month. Derp. Okay. Here we go. That one there and that one there. Copy and paste. Okay, there we go. So let's first of all do pets. tier 1, and now this is something that I can sometimes just, this will drive me nuts. I'll go over this over and over and over again, and I can't quite get it right, I can't quite get it right. And then I finally was just like, okay, screw it, this is the way it's going to be. So these guys are generally large, like they're bigger in size than most of the rest of the images, like they're bigger than the rings and amulets, they're bigger than the materials. They tend to be about, go back to here, they are, yeah, they're 128 by 128. The armors, or the ring and amulets are 96 by 96. So these are roughly about a third larger than the rest of the images that are already, you know, come in the auction already in the files. These guys, the crafting materials also, I believe, yeah, they're 96 by 96 also. So they're the same size, roughly, as the rings and amulets. So they are bigger, as well as the bosses are also bigger. And then the head avatars for the armors are also, if I recall correctly, they are the same, roughly the same size. They're about 150-ish. So they're actually the biggest of the images are the heads, the avatars. So just for comparison, if I were to drop this on here, you can see how much bigger that is than this. So anyway, so let's go ahead and get these pets on here. And I will, like I said, this will drive me nuts. I'll play with this and play with this and play with this until I get it just the way I want it. And I will sometimes spend 15 minutes on just getting the alignment of these right. Sometimes it just goes smoothly and I have no issues. Other times I can't get it in place to save my life. For whatever reason, my brain just is not working, not firing on all cylinders, all that good stuff. There's tier number 4, which is roughly about in the middle of that one. And then tier number 5 is roughly in the middle of the one right above it. So we'll put this one right about like that. I'm going to have to move those over. They're a little bit off of where I want them to be. Since these are all in the same layer, I have to be kind of more careful. Or I might overlap them a bit too much. Like about like that. That actually looks pretty good. But, because I'm a derp, I put them down too low. Because I want to still have my box down below that says pets. Okay, now I can do that. Put a box about here. Now I can go into here and say pets. And I can kind of center that in there. I'm going to make that one actually a little bit smaller. I'm going to make that one a 24. There we go. There we go. And now we're going to do the bosses. Boss number 1. This is the reskin of the Sapphire Brunei, so therefore this one is going to be fire and water as well. So I'm going to put this one roughly about there, and that one, which I think is new. I don't think it's a reskin. I think this is a new one. Is going to go with that one right there. So the very first 2 armors are the raid armors. So we have fire water, we have fire spirit. Those are our 2 raids, which is rare that they have adjacent elements on both raids, but this is going to apparently be the case for the month of May. Alright, now we have bosses. Oops, I don't want to do that quite yet. I want to get out of here. There we go. Go down to here, about there. I can move this, of course, if I need to. Bosses. Now I'm going to probably have to move the... I'm going to have to probably move these down, because I want to still have the ability to put the text above them that indicates which armor is which. Which, truthfully, if you look at them, is really not that difficult to figure out, but people still like to know. So, without having to look at it and go, oh, that armor belongs with this. Like, if you look at this armor here, and you look at that boss, they clearly go together. You look at this one, the little side of the head there, that looks the same, that looks the same. Yeah, they go together, but not everyone immediately spots that. Especially if you haven't looked at the files. If you haven't looked at them and said, oh yeah, that goes there. It's not always as obvious. So, like I said, I like to do that just to keep things easy, so people don't have any confusion about what's what. Now I have room to put the text above. Okay. Alright, and last but not least, we have our capes. Cape, we have, this one is Cape 1, cap 1. Helps so if I can spell. And there's cape 2. Copy, paste. There is cape 1. And this one is again another one. These are even bigger. These are substantially large. Like comparatively speaking, they're huge. They're even bigger than the boss heads, the boss images. There's 2 capes. Another text box. Up there. We are currently at about 1 hour 45 minutes, FYI, if anybody's curious. Capes. And I'm, by the way, almost done. So this is roughly about the amount of time it takes me if I can do it uninterrupted. This is just the part that you're watching now. The extraction itself, by itself, can take anywhere from half an hour to an hour, depending on variables like if I'm interrupted, if I'm not interrupted, if I'm scatterbrained and can't keep track of where I am and I have to start over multiple times, which unfortunately happens a lot. But this is on average. Most Datamine extraction to completion is usually 2.5 to 3.5 hours, sometimes up to 4. So anyway, that's that. So the capes are now done. So this is mostly done. Just double checking to make sure I didn't forget anything. So capes I got, armors I got, bosses I got. Go back into here, double check. Bosses are good. Oops, I didn't actually want to cut and paste. I wanted to copy and paste. I like to always keep things in the original folders the way they were, just so I'm not deleting things I might need to look at later. Okay. All the armors. Yeah, I think I got everything. Yep. Okay, cool. Back into here. So now I just need to put in the elements on these guys and then the links to the armors up above here, and then put in my background, which is always just defaulted black, and save it. And then I can send it out to everyone. And those of you who have been watching, if you've been watching this whole time, thank you. This is probably not the most exciting thing in the world, but you kind of get an idea of what's involved. For those of you who couldn't join in the last time, this is basically the same thing I did last time, except I didn't start assembling the sheet. I just did up to about 2/3 of the way through the armor assembly and matching bling up to armors. That's about as far as I went last time. So this time I'm doing the entire thing. So I should be done within the next 10 to 15 minutes. So, and that's even giving myself a little bit of leeway, because it might not even take me that long. Whoops, not that one. I want, where'd it go? Oh, okay, my folder's disappeared on me. There it is. It's on my other window. So, okay, so we have fire, which obviously we're going to need. So fire, I'm going to put this over here on the side. Fire. Oh, I should put this on the other side of the other one too while I'm at it. Fire, about like that. It's actually a little bit high. And then we have water. That's going to go here. About like that. And we have spirit. It's going to go right about like that. Now at this point, I will usually fill in the background so I can actually put text on top of it so I can see it a little bit better, because if I put text on this, the color of the text that I use is usually a lighter, like yellowish, orangish color. So it doesn't always show up with this white kind of checkered background as well. So I will sometimes fill in the background at this point in time. So if I come into here and I zoom out and I go into my little paint bucket, that's that one. Which you'll notice, nothing got deleted. That one, nothing got deleted. That one. Ta-da! So you can kind of get an idea. Since I still had those black lines in the background for my alignment, to make sure all the armor's lined up, it's in 3 separate chunks. So it kind of makes it easier to keep track of where you are, and to be able to go in and make edits to things after the fact if you need to. So I'm looking at it, just kind of do a kind of a final once-over to make sure I like where it's at. And before I do anything further, I'm actually going to save this, so I have the template already, or the layout already done. And I save these all in the same folder on my computer, just so I can keep track of where they go. And let's move this off here. Where did I have to remember where I put it now. Oh, it's right there. Okay, cool. That makes it easy. So this is my 2018 05 Datamine file. There we go. So now I can put in my text. I have to pull up my color palette thingy here. I usually use this guy right here as kind of my text that I fill things in with. Okay, so here I'm going to put in, zoom in here a little bit. So this is top row first, top row second. Okay. So put into here first row, first armor. And kind of center that over the top of the armor. That's actually not even the right color. That's it right there. That's what I was going to say. That looks weird to me. That looks wrong. Because it was wrong. I had the wrong color selected. So this is first row, derp, second armor. There we go. Now it wasn't intentional. That's the way the file is just extracted. So I didn't intentionally pull out the raid armors first. It's just the way it came out. Okay, that's that. Actually, I'm going to undo that. I'm actually going to change that color even to a different one entirely. That one is the one I wanted originally, I think. Let me delete this. Ta-da. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do at all. Let me just undo again. There we go. Okay. I'm actually in the wrong layer entirely, which is why it's confusing to me. Okay, first row. If I can type today, good lord. First armor. Put that right about there. First row. First. Oh, good lord. My fingers are just fucking me over today. I can't get them to work at all. Okay, there we go. First row, first armor, first row, second armor. Okay, if I zoom out, that should be pretty clear. Now this one, again, I still have no idea what this armor is for. It doesn't belong here at all. But it's there. It's in the files, so I'm guessing it must be some special event. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into here and switch to my red. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Undo. That one needs to be this guy. There we go. Now I need to go to here. There we go. Now I can switch it to red. Kind of a reddish color there. Put my little signature thingy there. Put that over there. I'll show you how that looks. Kind of like to keep them off to the side so they're not like right in your face when you're looking at it, but people can still see it. Okay, so let me do a final save. Make sure there's nothing else I'm obviously missing. There is a little bit of extra blank space over on this right side. I'm not really sure if I like that. I think I might actually remove it. So let me do this really quick. Since I have this on a separate layer, I can move it, thankfully. I'm going to move it to about there. And I'm going to shorten this up to about 1550. It doesn't need to be quite that wide. Ta-da! There we go. Okay. And we are now going to save that. So I have a final copy of it saved. Now I can merge all my layers back into one and save it as the final product. Okay, so now if I close this and I go into here, I can now do this, and there it is. That's the Datamine. May 2018 done. So we are at the 1 hour and 52 minute mark. So it's all done. I'll start sending it out to everyone here shortly. I'm going to run to the bathroom though first, because I've needed to run to the bathroom for like 10 minutes now already. Anyway, so I'm going to shut down the stream here shortly. If anyone has any questions or whatever beyond that, follow, hit me up online. I'm also on Discord as well, and I will chat with you guys later. So that's it. Everyone have a great day and enjoy the rest of the war. For the EU people, I think we have 10 hours or so left, and of course global noon tomorrow my time. So that is it, everyone. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.